Hi, Trish.
Hi, Dollface.
How have you been?
Honey, I've been so good. I will tell you, I have looked forward to this conversation. And now that we got to have it, y'all, Karen and I just got to have one. When you get to interview somebody, and if you haven't, or just have a conversation with a good friend, and it makes you feel so good, that's the place I'm in right now, right?
Well, right. I mean, not only do we enjoy talking to each other today, we got to bring on one of our favorite guests. Actually, he was our very first guest,
Very first guest.
and he's so smart and such a cool guy. I just love him so much.
He's fancy. So we were talking, and y'all are going to enjoy this. So this is with Dave Karger. He is one of the hosts at TCM Turner Movie Classics, Turner Classic Movies. Sorry, I'm dyslexic, y'all. Turner Classic Movies. He's a very accomplished writer. Has an amazing book called 50 Nights of Oscars that we will plug the crap out of. It's in the show notes. But he's such a knowledgeable, sweet, fun. He's like the phone a friend. If I was on a game show, I'd want Dave Karger
Yeah,
as my phone a friend.
he is so knowledgeable.
And he's just a really cool human being. And we hope you enjoy this conversation because Karen and I were like, you know what? What Christmas holiday movies, all the holiday movies, put you in the mood, would you watch? And then we were talking about it ourselves. And we're like, we should have Dave on to have
Yeah,
him tell
who
us.
better than Turner Classic Movie himself? So he knows all the classics and the currents and everything, and he's always has great stories to go with them. So we really hope you enjoy this episode.
We sure do, because we sure had a good time recording it. So without further ado, here is the What I Know So Far episode of Holiday Movies and More with the ever so fabulous Dave Karger.
Dave Karger.
We are super excited to get this episode going because Karen and I have talked about having what is really What I Know So Far fan favorite back on, the amazing Dave Karger. Dave, thanks for making time to hang with Karen and I again.
It's so great to see you both anytime. I think I was one of your very first guests when you
You
started.
were the first one. Yes.
You are first one because you wrote You're Amazing, which I still have. And by the way, there it is, 50 Nights of Oscars. Mine's in the living room. I had to buy my sweet mother-in-law one because she loved it so much that she dogged and earmarked mine. Precious.
I like that though. That's great. It
And
makes a
she
really good
said-
Christmas present, by the way.
Yes, it does.
It really is. And here's a pro tip, y'all. I love all my books to look super chic. Even if you take the jacket off, it's black with gold writing and it's chic even without a cover. Dave Karger, way to go.
I like that. People also tell me they do like the gold cover because it brings out whatever gold highlights they have in their house. So that's good too.
That's
Yes, it's a great book. It's a beautiful book, and if you're a movie lover, you're going to love 50 Nights of Oscar.
You're going to love it. That's why we had Dave back, because there's so much knowledge. If you didn't listen to the episode, what's wrong with y'all? Go back and listen to Dave Karger's episode and learn why we love him so much. But he really is. You are I just say you are the face of Turner Movie Classics. I'm going that bold because you are.
I will not accept that. Turner TCM has 5 hosts. I love them all.
I'm sure they're darling.
But I appreciate your kindness and support.
Well, you're just so lovely, and you're lovely to anytime you're on. I'm like, oh, I got to stop and watch Dave. You're one of the reasons I still keep linear, like cable. I am on a show on A&E, and I don't even keep it for my own show.
We hear that a lot from people who keep TCM on all day long, on silent or with the sound up, and it's the reason they still have cable TV, and that makes us feel great.
Well, you are in our house. And Karen and I were talking about going into this holiday season. We were like, you know what? We need to have Dave on because I want to know what holiday movies we need to be, maybe ones that we've not thought about, maybe the ones we've overlooked, and then talk about the ones that we love. And Karen was definitely like, oh my gosh, we have to call Dave. So thank you for taking the time.
Anytime. You know that.
And I have to tell you, Dave, I've been so jealous watching your looking at your Instagram because I'm seeing you with Pink and Carol Burnett, and
On a cruise.
You're everywhere everyone is. Everything everywhere all at once. That's Dave Karger.
That's Dave Karger.
So I will tell the people watching this, I hosted an event a couple months ago for Bob Mackey, the great fashion
Oh,
designer, costume
Yes.
designer,
Oh,
who's a friend of
yes.
mine. And there was a documentary about him. So he asked if I would come do the Q&A with all the people who were at the premiere. And it was Pink, Carol Burnett, RuPaul, and Cher.
Oh my
And I
what
got
a
gosh.
to
How,
interview
boring
them all.
room.
It
oh
was
yeah. What a boring
great.
room.
Well, and for you two with your comedy backgrounds, obviously you must love Carol Burnett.
Oh, of course. I mean,
Did
she's our, oh, yes.
icon. We will wax poetic about Carol. I loved watching. I will pull up all those. There's a Instagram, and I'll forgive me. I think it's called Camperama. They're hilarious, and they'll put up all these old clips from all these back to the 50s. But they'll usually do a musical, and then every once in a while they'll get on a tear and put up a Bob Mackie tribute, and your girl goes crazy because Cher and Carol Burnett. I did not realize until Carol Burnett told Cher that she just stole the outfits from her variety show. And I was like, oh, and watching Cher's face, be like, wait, are you serious? And Carol was like, I did. I just told Bob. And I was like, oh, like, it was a kid in a candy store moment. I think it was at her 90th birthday when they did the big Carol Burnett 90th
Sure.
birthday celebration.
Well, they're all
And Bob,
friends.
yes,
Yes.
And I'll
And
tell you,
tell.
the craziest thing happened when I did this event. Carol Burnett, I was talking to her and she told me how much she loves Turner Classic Movies. And she DVRs movies off TCM all the time and watches them. And she pitched to me at that moment an idea. I said, what's your idea? And she said, well, when I used to have my show in the 1970s, we used to do sketches that were spoofs of classic movies. And I was like, I know. And she said, what if I came on TCM with you and we showed a movie and then showed the sketch of me spoofing the movie? So
I
every
love it.
Sunday night in December, Carol and I are hosting together, and starting at 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific, and we're going to be showing movies that she spoofed, and I'm interviewing her about her spoofs. So tune in every December Sunday.
Gone with the Wind and
That's
all
the first one.
my gosh, I will be dying. I will be tuned into
I will
that.
be tuned in. I will
How
be
cool.
your PR/hype girl. Just know that this, not only this podcast, but us individually will make sure everybody's watching Dave, because that is a dream sequence situation, bucket list.
Tell me about it.
Oh my gosh. And aside from, of course, Carol and Cher and those icons, I'm a huge Pink fan too. So
Me
when I
too.
saw that picture on Instagram, I'm like,
She's so cool. Can I tell you a really fast story about Pink? I know this is
Please.
not
of
what we're meant to be
course.
talking about on this podcast.
No,
We go off the
You don't
rails
mind?
all
we
the
go off
time.
the rails we really should call it off the rails. We know this, Dave. But we love Pink, and anytime we can celebrate any fabulous human, especially Pink, we're in.
Oh, good.
She's a strong woman. Yep.
So I used to work, I think, as you two know, I used to be a writer at Entertainment Weekly magazine. And one of the very last interviews I ever did before I left the magazine 14 years ago was I interviewed Pink. And actually, this was 2012, so 12 years ago. And she had a new album coming out, and she had the song "Blow Me One Last Kiss." I remember "The Truth About Love" was the name of the album. So
Yes.
we agreed to meet for dinner at a little restaurant in Venice that she wanted to go to. Venice, California, not Italy.
Yes, you
Venice
just
Beach.
spread it over. Yes.
And I show up. I had all my questions written down on a little piece of paper, like I do. And she showed up by herself on a bicycle. No one with her, just came in and sat down. And we just started chatting a little bit. And I said, okay, so let's start the interview. And I'm looking around, and the piece of paper with all of my questions on it vanished. Poof. Into thin air. I never found it. So I spent like a minute looking around, like, Alicia, that's what she goes by. I'm like, I have questions for you. I'm going to find them. Couldn't find them. So I was like, I guess we're going to wing it. So luckily I remembered probably 80% of them, I guess, but we just had a conversation, and that was the interview. And it was one of my favorite interviews that I've ever done in any format. She was so funny. She was so real. She just gotten back with her husband. So she remains, and I reminded her of that story when I saw her a couple months ago. She is just the coolest. So you should love her as much as you do.
She's just it. Like, when you look at, normally I don't ever go, I want to hang with this person. I want to hang with that person. Pink is one of those people that you feel like she's going to be your people. Like,
Yes.
if she's not your people, keep moving, everybody. But for most of us, we look at Pink and go, yeah, she's our people. I feel like she'd go four-wheeling with me. We'd also finish a bottle of wine together, snort, laugh, and be all about it. Like, she feels like she'd be somebody mess up wrapping Christmas presents with you, because I'm not a good rapper.
She loves her wine. I do remember
Yes, she does.
she ordered a red wine and she was like, this is good. It's jammy. She said that was the word she used. So
I love a jammy wine. I hope she had a pork chop with it.
Well, and certainly she can be divisive at times, but what I love is that she's unapologetically who she is, and you knew to take it or leave it. So,
that's right.
bravo.
I love her. I love
By
her.
the way,
let's
all
get
those
into
women were, by the way. When you go from Cher to Carol Burnett, it's just, what was cool is you were with kind of the evolution. And just to put a button on it, did Bob Mackie not dress some of the most badass mamma jammas on planet Earth to like emulate who they are? That's what I was like. It wasn't just a bunch of sequins, honey. And I'm going to give my one closest to the sun Bob Mackie moment. We'll get on with this, everybody. I had liked this. Somebody put up a clip, probably Camperama, of Cher in this rainbow sequin Bob Mackie ensemble. Just think of Cher in the 70s. Think rainbow, think Bob Mackie. This is what it was. And I put it in my stories and was like, icon, legend, who's bigger than Bob Mackie? Oh, and Cher. Like, as a,
Yeah, right.
And Bob Mackie reposted I was like, I'm going to have to take to the bed the rest of the day that Bob Mackie even saw something.
That's
I
great.
put out in the universe. But that's what he really did. As a little girl, I always thought, someday Bob Mackie's going to dress me and I'm going to be this fabulous. Like, if you put Bob Mackie on you, you're going to be amazing.
That's great. He's lovable.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Great. And now on to the holidays. I know that's not a normal segue, but good Lord.
Yeah, we could talk to you like till tomorrow.
Good.
You're the best. Okay. We have to know. Dave, if anybody's compiled a list of what we need to be seeing this holiday season, it's Dave Karger. Hit us.
So I have my top 7 holiday movies for you. 2 of them are recent. When I say recent, in the last 20 years. One of them is from my childhood in the 80s, and the other 4 are from what I really consider to be kind of the heyday of the Christmas movie, which is the 1940s. And I'm sure even some of the older ones, which are TCM staples, by the way. And I'm going to tell everybody where they can find these movies too. I'm sure you'll even be familiar with some, maybe not all, but some of the older ones. But do you want to start with the 2 that are a little bit more recent?
Yes, please. And I'm going to make a list as we go.
Okay. The first 2 are a little bit obvious, so bear with me on this. But
Okay.
Elf is great. I mean, come on. Will Ferrell, it's the perfect role for him. He's such a man-child anyway with everything that he does.
Yes, he is.
And I just think it's all about his spirit. The director's great, Jon Favreau. And the movie has a little bit of like a bittersweetness to it now because Ed Asner and Bob Newhart are both gone.
I know.
Which is sad, but there's just something about that movie. I just think it's just so joyful and fun. And then the other one that's recent is the same year, 2003, as Elf. And come on, Love Actually.
Thank you. I was like, please let this make Dave's list. Okay, Dave, if I didn't think you could go up more a notch in my book, but look what just happened. That is my all-time favorite Christmas movie.
Is it?
It is. It is for so many reasons, even though we know some of the storylines are like, wait, what? And they don't age as well. But the truth is, I think it was one of those movies that you were like, it was just, you'd never seen anything like it when it came out. And that cast.
Come on. The best.
Oh, yeah. The cast.
Emma Thompson, Laura Linney, Colin Firth, Bill Nye, Hugh Grant.
I can't even start naming them all. And I was like, Reichman. I was like, everybody. When I tell you I cry, I watch that every year. My poor husband has to deal with me because I watch it twice. I watch it when it's 6 weeks before Christmas as the movie starts because they don't celebrate Thanksgiving. Right. So in the movie, it starts first 6 weeks before Christmas. And my husband's like, wow, we're doing this, aren't we? Like, yeah, we're in.
It's a ritual.
But that's what these Christmas movies are about. They're about ritual. They're about tradition. And yes, you're totally right, Trish. Some of the storylines, you watch it 20 years later and you're like, But you have to give credit to this movie, Richard Curtis, the filmmaker, that he's able to craft these stories, some of which make you laugh so hard with Bill Nye and his manager, or Hugh Grant falling in love, with the aide in Downing. But then the Emma Thompson, Alan Rickman stuff with the present, I mean, you just can't believe it.
The Joni Mitchell, if you don't cry in that, you don't have a soul. And then you're like, oh my gosh, when little Bernard interrupts her and he's like, Mom, or the daughter does it first. I'm so excited. Where are you in the nativity scene? The first lobster. There was more than one lobster present at the birth of baby Jesus. I'm going to tell you right now, it is one of the funniest. It's one of the most well-written. And even Liam Neeson in the unexpected role of the dad and the way that it's written. And you're going, this is so good. And Laura Linney.
Yeah, she's so great.
Always the best.
I'm
Always.
so grateful you chose that because I was
good.
like, he's going to either say all the way yay or Trish, you've lost your mind. Okay. Thank you. And I know we didn't even go off on Elf, which I could recite from any point if you gave me a line. I mean, really, it's one of the greatest, as you said, celebration of a man-child on planet Earth. So
I feel certain that one of my favorites are not going to be on your list, but that's okay. You go ahead.
My
do
other
this,
one
and
has
I'll deal with it later.
Well, let's hear your, so now that I've done my two, like from the last 20, 25 years, what are your recent ones?
I love The Holiday with Kate Winslet and Jack Black and
Cameron
Diaz and
Jude
Jude Law.
It's so
love
good.
it. So good. So sweet.
And they swap houses.
Swap
houses.
It's lovely.
As
it's
one
so
does.
great.
She just cuts movie trailers and has a $14 million house in Beverly Hills. It's so believable. It's really, I think the premise is what sets it up for me. I was like, girl.
But it's also really, it's set over the holidays, but it's also just a great romantic comedy too, and has such a sweet storyline with the older man that used to be a Hollywood writer, and how he, pulls her out of her bad place by having her watch all these old movies and identifying with women with gumption. And so it's just, I just so love that whole story.
And it's where I learned the term meet cute. I did not know what a meet cute was until I saw The Holiday.
I know, me neither. I mean, he buys the pajama bottom, she buys the top, and there's your meet.
I love that. Karen, what's your other one?
Well, I mean, I love Actually also. It is one of mine, but I'm just saying The Holiday was not. And of course, I love that.
Oh, it's so good. I do have one weird one, and I know it's going to sound obscure. I don't know what year it came out, and I'm usually not an animation girl, but the writing was so smart that I have put it on every year. My husband's now gotten into it. He's had to. Is Arthur Christmas.
I've never seen it.
Please, y'all. If you have not seen Arthur Christmas, it was a testament to having nephews this age at that time. And it's a British comedy about Santa and Arthur, that it's actually a family-run business. And Santa Claus is actually just a generational gig. And so, there's Grand Santa, the current Santa, and that they show all the backdoor ways of how, like, the elves are like Navy SEALs and how the presents actually get into the house and how they make it around the world. And it's such a smart, I just think a smart thing for kids, because all little questions little ones have about, like, if you're questioning if there's a Santa, man, they poached a whole you'd having a theory. They've done, and it's great because of course everybody has a British accent, so it's hilarious even more. And Bill Nighy is in that as well.
Amazing. I need to see it.
Grand Santa.
And can you even qualify though a movie as a Christmas movie just because it's set over Christmas?
I mean, the whole Die Hard conversation. I guess so. It's not, for me, a Christmas movie really is one that puts you in the Christmas mood. And I don't know if Die Hard really does that. Yeah. As great as Die Hard is.
Yeah, it's an action film.
Isn't technically Gremlins a Christmas movie too? I think
Probably.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I mean,
again, not what I would turn on as a Christmas movie.
Not the Christmas spirit.
Right,
not the Christmas spirit. Now we have to get on to Dave's real list of stuff that will actually educate us.
No, I like your list too. So the one that I picked from my childhood from the 80s, 1983, was of course A Christmas Story. Yes. Just because it's one it's become a modern classic. It's on TV, although I refuse to watch movies with commercials, so I won't watch it when it plays on that other channel with commercials and it runs for 24 hours. I'm a snob. I only watch movies with no commercials,
I
but
appreciate that.
it's great. And for me, I think I was born in 1973. The movie came out in 83. So I probably saw it when I was 11 or something. And for that sweet spot of that age, I just remember the kid with his tongue frozen to the pole. I mean,
Yeah.
it had those moments
Schwartz.
that you don't forget.
Yeah.
That's right. It's so iconic. I mean,
It is. I mean, the lamp leg, Fred Gile.
Yeah, the
I mean, you
lamp
think
leg,
about the bunny jammies. There's nothing about that movie that you can't grow up and not have that resonate with you to some degree, because it
That's
was
right.
so, and it felt real. I remember being little, asking my mom if it was a real, I didn't know what a documentary was. And I was like, is this a real story? My mom was like, no. Because I really believe we were like watching a day in the life of this family.
That's funny.
I loved that. I loved everything about it because it was shot so beautifully. Okay, I'm ready. Let's hit me with more.
Okay, so you know what? I counted wrong. I have 8.
Even
I
better.
said I had 7. I don't have 7. I have 8 because the last 5 that I have are all from the 1940s. Now, again, some of these you'll know, some of these you won't. And I'm going to tell you and your listeners where you can find some of these. So
Great.
one of them is The Shop Around the Corner with
Yes.
Jimmy Stewart and Margaret Sullivan. Have you guys ever seen that?
I have not.
My grandmother loved that movie. Oh, just go.
So it takes place at this store and 2 of the employees don't like each other. They don't get along. But little do they know that they're actually each other's secret pen pal. They've been writing letters to each other, these little lovely letters, without telling the other one who they are. So they don't like each other, but they actually are these soulmates. And if that sounds familiar, it's
You Got
because
Mail.
it's You've Got Mail. It was remade into You Got Mail. It was also remade into a musical called In the Good Old Summertime with Judy Garland and Van Johnson. But The Shop Around the Corner is the original version.
Oh,
and it's
wow.
just so charming. And it's on MGM Plus. We show it on TCM. I should tell your listeners that at
Yes.
TCM, we love Christmas movies. We start airing them intermittently at the very beginning of December. And then for the entire week, 7 days leading up to Christmas Day, all we show 24 hours a day is Christmas movies. So if you're in the
Love it.
mood and you've got TCM, it's
Bring
a
on the
great
wholesome.
thing to have on. So all these 5 that I'm going to be telling you about are going to be on TCM at some point in December, as well as being available on some streaming services. So that one is a must.
Awesome.
Another one is called Holiday Affair. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, from 1949. It's Janet Leigh and Robert Mitchum. And when you think of like a heartwarming Christmas movie, the last person you would think of is Robert Mitchum, who was
Robert
like the
Mitchum,
ultimate tough guy. But in
Yeah.
this movie, he plays this super sweet guy who works behind a toy counter at a department store. He meets Janet Leigh, who's a young widow with a sweet, sweet little boy.
I just watched that this year at the trains. The
Right.
trains, right?
Yeah.
David, such a good movie. Wait, what's it called? Because I got sucked in and I never learned the name. Tell me this again.
Holiday Affair.
And then the other guy wants to marry her, but he doesn't. And then she's into him. Okay.
It's so good, right?
It's
So
such,
good.
y'all. It was so good. And the little boy, that kid was like scene stealing.
And by the way, the little kid, his name is Gordon Giebert, is still with us. He's about 80 years old now. And he came to our TCM Film Festival. He doesn't act anymore. He became an architect, but loves to talk about, his short history as a child actor. And as you're right, Trish, he just steals the show. So Holiday Affair is a staple on TCM. Just search and you'll see it a couple times in December.
And please watch it, y'all, because it's one of those that once you could miss like 10 minutes and then figure out what's happening, but it's such good acting and funny. It's funny.
Yeah. And it's less than
What I
90
wasn't-
minutes long.
And I
Yeah,
was just
that's
about to
always a
say,
good
and it was
thing.
quick.
Yeah.
The timing was quick. The pacing was quick. And I was like, why aren't we having movies like this anymore?
I know. Okay. Another one, which is better known and also was remade into a very famous movie, is The Bishop's Wife, which was remade as The Preacher's Wife with
Preacher's
Denzel
Wife.
Washington and Whitney Houston and
Whitney
Angela.
Houston.
Right. But the original version from 1947 is David Niven and Loretta Young, and the angel that comes down is Cary Grant. And it's one of Cary Grant's most sweet and charming performances you've ever seen. It's just a lovely movie set during the holiday season and has all the messages and warmth that you could possibly want, and the charm of Cary Grant.
And Cary Grant is an angel. That's who I picture our
Yeah.
angels to be.
And that one's on Peacock. It's on Amazon Prime for free, and we show it on TCM a lot in December. Okay, and then I have two more, just super quick.
Please.
It's very well known, Holiday Inn, and that's from 1942. Right? Bing Crosby, Fred Astaire. It's the movie that made the song White Christmas
White Christmas.
Yes.
famous, and it's on Amazon Prime, although we show it too. And it's this great movie that it's about an inn that's only open on holidays. So it takes you through the whole calendar year, and there's like a song and dance for each big holiday,
And
ending with this White Christmas. Yeah.
And I was going to say, and you've got the sweet old general that used to be he was, or I think he was a general. Forgive me, could have been forgive me for not knowing rank, but he was the head of Bing Crosby and it's Danny Kaye, right? Is that who it is?
And Fred Astaire too.
And Fred Astaire, yes. Oh my gosh, I forgot. It is such a good movie.
Right?
I forgot. And my sweet mother-in-law is 88 years young, and she loves young, and she loves that movie, and we have to watch it at least 3 times during the
Same.
holidays.
My mom's 87, and every time I walk in during Christmas, sit down.
Sit down. We're gonna watch us some Holiday Inn. I'm like, yes, I'm here for this.
They just don't make them like they used to, guys. That's how I feel about it. And then the last one that I will share, which is my total kind of left field, off the beaten path pick, but for maybe some of your listeners who know all the ones that we've been talking about and want to find a new one, there's a movie from 1941. It's my favorite holiday movie of all time. It's called The Man Who Came to Dinner. And it's this absolutely hilarious movie about this cantankerous old man who's like a lecturer and radio star. The actor who plays him is this guy named Monty Woolley, who is so funny. And he has to make a speaking engagement in Ohio. He doesn't even want to do it. He just would rather be home. And he has to go to dinner at the house of this local family. It's the last thing he wants to do. And he's walking up the stairs to their house, and he slips on the ice and hurts himself. And he proceeds to move into these people's house and make it his own private hospital and drive everybody crazy. And his assistant is played by Bette Davis. So she's the star. She's the name star. But this guy, Monty Woolley, steals the show. He just insults everybody left and right. It is so dang funny. And you cannot believe that they made this movie in 1941, because you just cannot believe the stuff that he gets away with saying. So The Man Who Came to Dinner, it's not easy to find. You can't stream it. Like, I think you might be able to go to Amazon and pay money to rent it. But if you have TCM, we show it several times in December. I know that I'm introducing it even, and I can even tell you when I'm introducing it, because I always get so excited when they put it on my schedule. I'm introducing it on the 14th of December, which is a Saturday afternoon. So if you've never seen The Man Who Came to Dinner, you got to see it. It's so funny. And what I always tell people is, if you're going to watch it, turn the captions on, because there's so many lines. It was a play before it was a movie, and the lines just come so fast and furious that if you don't see them, you miss a few.
You miss them, yeah.
That's me watching Ted Lasso. It's such fast writing and so brilliant.
Right.
I have to put the subtitles on, because I'm like, I saw that joke. Because if I didn't see it, I didn't hear it. And I was like, oh, so thank you. The Man Who Came to Dinner. I love smart comedy. And I do feel like there was a sweet spot back in like the 40s, 50s, whenever, and the same with A Holiday Affair, where stuff was so smart, and they left those like gaping holes for you to just do the work.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Yep.
Brilliant.
You're going to love it.
I'm so excited.
Did Katharine Hepburn ever do a Christmas movie?
Well, she did Desk Set with Spencer Tracy, and that we show that around Christmas time, because it does have, Christmas adjacent themes in it. But yeah, like a lot of the big stars did end up doing, one or two. Gary Cooper did Meet John Doe. So yeah, you definitely, Jimmy Stewart, of course, with It's a Wonderful Life and The Shop Around the Corner. So he was a staple. But then, as I mentioned, to see like Robert Mitchum do a sweet Christmas movie, it was fun to see people who you wouldn't think of kind of get in on the sweet Christmas movie act as well.
I tell you a show I think you should do. And when you after you squeeze in Carol Burnett and get through that, I think you should do a show where you take all these child actors that are and see if they're still
with us.
alive and what they're doing and if they acted anymore. You know what other things they did. I think people. I'm always interested in knowing what
I
what.
agree with that, Karen. Like, I'm not kidding when y'all watch Holiday Affair, and please do, because it is awesome. This little kid's timing, and it's not, you know how back in the day, you sometimes an older, we've all seen it, with somebody, it would come across as overacting, right? And especially out of a child. That is not the case with this. This kid is so good and is so just, it would even take like great comedic pauses. And I was like, so to hear him as an adult, I would love to hear what that experience was, because he was a very mature child, or at least that's how he came across.
And I just saw the kid from A Christmas Story on a commercial.
Oh, Peter Billingsley?
Peter Billingsley, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Well,
great. He's a great director.
yeah, one
Also
thing
in
we
Elf.
yeah, that's right. And we talk about Gordon Gebert, the boy from Holiday Affair, and that he really was helpful to Janet Leigh, because Janet Leigh this was a new experience for her, working with a kid like that. So she had all of her lines memorized. You know, she'd be at a dinner table scene or something, and she'd be trying to get through the scene as it was written. And this little boy who, you know, how old is he? 4, 5 or 6 or something, was just like being so silly. And at times he would play with his food or say something he wasn't supposed to, and it would throw off Janet Leigh. And the director took her aside and said, "You have to go with it, Janet. Just like let this kid guide you and just be yourself." And some of the most fun moments in the movie apparently came out of these improvisational moments.
Yeah, because they're in the moment. The kids will keep you in the moment.
That's right.
They will.
Yeah, they will.
I'm so excited, Karen. I'm with you.
I'm always seeing, my mom has on things all the time, and I'll see Jodie Foster as a kid. I'll see Kurt Russell. I'll see all these people, and I would love to just say, what were you thinking when you were, in that scene, or a child actor? What do you remember about it? Or I just think it's interesting.
We just had our annual TCM cruise, which it was so much fun. And one of our special guests, we had Rita Moreno and Sean Cassidy and all these great people on the cruise. But we also had Haley Mills with us.
Stop.
Oh, yes.
Speaking of great
Parent
young,
Trap.
right?
Yep.
Parent Trap, Pollyanna. And she was such a wonderful actress, even as like a 12, 13, 14-year-old girl. She really was very present in the moment, not just reciting her lines, but reacting and seeing. You could see the gears turning in her head. She was terrific and such a lovely woman. And now she's, I think, 78 years old and just great.
I would love that show too, Karen. I'm on board with that, Dave. If you could get us the and also I think it'd probably be refreshing for them now, so far removed, as I'm sure you've spoke to many of those actors in a short blip about it. But I would totally watch that.
It's a great idea. Thank you for that.
Was Flying Nun the first thing that Sally Field did, or did she do something earlier than that?
No, Gidget, I mean that and Gidget were like her first two. Yeah,
was Gidget before Flying Nun? I couldn't remember.
I think Gidget was first.
Yeah,
you'll have to check me on that. But she really wanted. She's in my book, of course. 50 Oscar nights available. Yeah. Anywhere you get your books, perfect holiday gift.
I know that had some, some.
And by the way, there'll be a link in the bio, because we don't just carry on about it, Dave. We will put a link for you to purchase this amazing book. Which, by the way, I have two. One earmarked by my sweet mother-in-law, and the other one out. one's in one state, one's in another in our house, because I loved it so much. So one's for reading, great. One's don't touch it.
I like that.
Thank you. Why not? Buy two. So yeah, Karen, what were you in the book? Sally Field. I was going to ask you. Sally Field is one of those kind of. She's never done a Christmas movie, has she? I was just thinking about that, because you think about how many iterations of Sally Field there has been.
That's right.
Well, in Still Magnolias, there was a scene over Christmas, but that's not a Christmas movie. A great movie, but not a Christmas movie. Yeah.
And I was going to ask Dave about Red One too, y'all. If you haven't seen the trailers. Like we were talking about Die Hard being a Christmas movie adjacent, I just saw that The Rock and Chris Evans were doing a true action film with some kind of like mutant snowman. It seems like a time. I feel like, and I'm sure it'll do well. I want everybody to do well. Do we need that much action at Christmas? I don't know. Or just the holidays in general.
Well, you know what? You have your Hallmark Christmas movies, which is all about the love story. And then there's a counterbalance. You have the action Christmas movie too. There's room for
Dave,
That's
everything.
true. Room for everything. Yes.
Dave, I'm telling you, you need to listen. You and Dolly Parton can run for office because you both just know how to make everybody feel good.
Good.
So diplomatic.
I
So
try. I
diplomatic.
try.
We're so tickled to have you. You're always such a joy, Dave. Always.
You two
And
are
we
too.
will be. We thank you, and we will be watching the Carol Burnett starting this beginning of December. Correct?
I'm so excited about that.
Every Sunday in December, starting December 1st, with the exception of the 22nd, because that's our Christmas week. So we take a week off. But I'm with Carol on December 1st, 8th, 15th, and 29th.
Well, listen, you know we're absolute fans of Dave Karger and TCM, but bigger than that, we are now fans and support anything you'd ever do and tell us to do. So we will be watching all your Christmas movies, and we will be with you and Carol
Great.
every Sunday in December, you angel.
And I will
100%.
enviously be thinking of you.
Oh, then we're
She's
going to
a-
be texting you outside going, so what was this like?
She's a delight. Okay, where's
So I think that
my?
means,
Oh, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, I think that means that since we're good friends, that I'm now 1 degree to Carol Burnett. I mean, I don't know. That's just how I think.
I think that's right. That feels like
Absolutely.
real math.
Absolutely.
Real math.
Now, but guys, where's my rapid fire questions?
Do you want me to give some? Because I
mean,
have some.
We have to do it.
Okay.
Dave
let's
Karger.
do it.
Okay.
It was in the
Listen,
email that you sent me that you
I
gave
know,
me
listen.
2 examples, and I have answers at the ready.
You know what, Dave? Listen, I can give you those, the ones that are in the email, no problem. I was just like, do I do new ones? Because I was going to give you holiday specific ones. Which,
Oh, give me anything you want.
okay, well, the ones in the email, you guys, we love a fast five here when we actually get a chance to ask them with our guests, which is the fast five questions. I want to know for sure, what would be your walk up song as a professional athlete? Because I feel like you of all people will have a good one.
Well, for me, music, it's all about the 80s. I am an 80s music person. So my answer has to be an 80s song. And because I'm more of a music person than an athlete, my song would be All I Need Is a Miracle.
Dave, that's so good.
I love that song
That's
by Mike and
great.
the Mechanics.
Mike
That's a
came from one of my
great song.
all-time favorite movies.
I
Was
don't
it
know what
not?
movie it's from.
Was it not? Wait, am I wrong? Wasn't it also in St. Elmo's Fire?
All I Need Is a Miracle?
Didn't they have? Look, you guys, I'm looking it up right now.
Maybe it
Because
was, and I'm forgetting. It wasn't written for that movie,
No,
but
I'm
maybe
thinking
it's
that.
in the movie.
Listen, we'll get back. Don't fact check me, everybody. I'll look because I thought
Okay.
it was because I'm obsessed with that song.
I love
Then
it.
I'm going to ask you, backing this up, what is Christmas song? You can only have one on repeat during the holidays. You only get one Christmas song. What is the holiday? I shouldn't say Christmas. Holiday in general. Holiday song that you put on.
Well, I love Elton John. And he, in 1973, released a Christmas song called Step Into Christmas.
Yes.
You guys know that, right? Song?
I can't sing, but I would sing it for you.
Right.
Mm.
It's a great song.
But-
It's very upbeat. It's
Yes.
super catchy. It was never a huge hit. It was in England, but it was never a huge hit in the United States. But you do hear it on the radio stations every year. But I love it.
I love that song. I love that
And
you chose that. That
Anything
fits you.
Elton John, I'm on.
He's the
That's
best.
true too. Okay, we have to know if you were not doing the profession you do now, what would Dave Karger be doing?
So that's a question I've actually been asked before. And I do have an answer. And it's funny that we were talking about Pink and wine. I love wine. I'm not super knowledgeable about it. I only really drink white wine and rosé wine. I don't drink red wine. But
Okay.
I am obsessed with people who are like sommeliers, who know
Yes.
everything about wine and can taste it and know which grape it is and which country it is and which year. If I wasn't doing what I was doing and I had the time, I would study to be a sommelier and I would work at like a great restaurant and recommend wines to people. That would be a really fun job.
That would be a hard job for me.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, that
My
seems like
brain
so-
would explode if I had to learn.
Dave's like, that seems like a fun thing to get into. Karen's like, that feels like work.
It feels like going back to college.
Right.
That's what
I
that feels
guess.
like.
I guess.
But how fun. It is not work if you love it. And if that's something you love, it'd be great. Yeah.
That's true.
That's awesome.
I want to ask if you could live anywhere in the world doing exactly what you do and what you love to do for a living tomorrow, no questions asked, pick up and move. What city, country would you live in?
So I'm a Francophile. So I have not been to many places in the world because I've been to France 23 times. So
Once you
whenever
find something you love.
I know. So I go back to France as often as I can, and I love exploring that country. I love the Riviera, Nice, and that whole area. And then this past summer, for the first time, I got to really explore the countryside of Provence. And that I was just mesmerized by that whole area. So if I could, I love speaking the language. I speak it decently. So if I could move somewhere,
Wow.
it would be there.
So you can really turn on the sexy if you need to.
Yes, honey. Yes. He's like peeling back an onion, Dave Karger. I'm telling you. He is a sommelier. He's moving to Provence. I just picked a region. If you move to Sancerre, that's my favorite wine.
I like Sancerre.
I love a Sancerre. I mean, I do a champagne. I'm not a judgy girl, but
You can see that's my wine fridge right behind me there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Right.
look, and I even see my favorite, which is Clase Azul back there, Reposado. Shout
Oh,
out
yes.
to the tequila folks. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, y'all. I'm a tequila girl. I love a gorgeous wine. I love a gorgeous champagne. But when I see Clase Azul, I know the kind of people that I'm dealing with.
It's a beautiful bottle.
It is a beautiful bottle.
And it's all about packaging.
Right.
It really, Karen and I,
Yeah.
Karen and I literally buy oil from somebody if the bottle was pretty.
yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
this is good. Sounds
I
good.
Well, who's your dream interview?
Harrison Ford. I've met him a couple times. He's super nice, and he's not the easiest person to interview, just because he's a little bit taciturn. But it's a challenge that I would love, and because I know that he's such a sweet man, I would want that challenge because it would be fun to try to, ask him some different types of questions, other than Han Solo, and get some interesting answers out of him. I love him. And then another
what a
person,
body of work too.
and then and I also love Sting, the singer. And I've met him once, but I've never had an interview with him, a conversation with him, and I would love to because I think he's an absolute genius.
Yes, he is. Oh, that would be awesome. Is there anyone in history that's no longer with us that would have been a dream interview?
Cary Grant.
Oh,
I'm devastated that I never got to meet him. Of course, he died when I was just a little boy. That would have been amazing because we show his movies all the time. I just think he's the best, movie star of that classic era, and just seemed like such a nice and charming man.
Well, I'm gonna round it out with this because I know that you do love music and you're a kid of the 80s. If you could interview living with us or no longer with us, musician, because I feel like you'd get an equally amazing interview out of music, be it rock, be it whatever genre. Like, what is there a musician that you're like, besides Sting? Because I feel like Sting kind of flies both ways. He's kind of, he's omnipresent, if you will.
And Elton, you've already interviewed Elton, so
many times.
You're friends with him. So
I mean to say, really,
so
he's
other
like,
than
I've done it all.
Gosh, I mean, Tina Turner would have been great to interview her just because of the life that she led and the talent and the different stages of her career.
Yes.
Being very big in her 20s and then coming back in her 40s. I think that would have been great.
That's a great answer.
And
we were watching, this is completely off topic, but we were watching a documentary about the decline, the demise, if you will, of Bill Cosby last night. My husband and I were watching this and I was like, oh, and they were showing a marquee of Vegas back in, it was like late 60s, early 70s when things were, turning, the world was rebranding itself obviously into a new decade. And Bill Cosby was the headliner at, I think it was the Sands or the Hilton. And underneath was featuring Tina Turner as like a side. That was the marquee. Because I also said how interesting that that a comic, just from the optics of it was a comic, but also how wonderful two Black performers were headlining that marquee, which I said that's a nice turn. But also that Bill Cosby was the marquee and Tina, because she had just taken her name back and was rebranding herself.
Wow.
Because my husband and I both started deep diving and I was like, what a testament to a life that woman lived. She was featuring for Bill Cosby.
Wow.
And as a comic, my first thought is, I wouldn't want to follow Tina Turner. What's he thinking?
Yeah, but the crowd is all hyped up after her. And she's not necessarily funny, so she's not stepping on your toes, Karen.
Yeah, I don't know.
You get to be you.
Yeah, but that energy starts sitting down, and
Especially
it's
when all
like,
you're going
wah,
heeba-doba,
wah.
dee-ba-doba, Jello pudding, bibbidi-bibbidi. Like, that's not Tina Turner energy, honey.
No, it's
I'd be
true.
like,
Yeah, some
That's
Proud
great.
Mary up here, and he's over here
Yeah,
talking about
yeah.
pudding pops. I don't know, it wasn't pudding pop time yet.
Yeah.
Dave Karger, you're a joy. Thank you for spending time with us.
Anytime, you two know that.
Well, you are one of the humans that bring greatness into the world, and you bring us all the goodness to look forward to, which we love. And if you're not following Dave Karger on social media, go ahead and start now, and you'll realize how he's like super fancy and runs with super fancy
Yeah,
people.
and you'll realize what all you're missing out on.
So get your life right. We're going to put all his links in the bio so you can go ahead and find it. But Dave, can you tell everybody where they can find you on social?
At Dave Karger, Karger. I'm on X, I'm on Instagram, and I'm such a broken record, but I'm very proud of this book, 50 Oscar Nights. And just go anywhere like Barnes and Noble or Target or Amazon and search 50 Oscar Nights, and you'll see it. And I really stand by it. I
And
worked really
it's
hard
a
on it.
great book. I
And
will
it's a
tell
great Christmas gift.
it's a wonderful anytime gift, y'all, like housewarming. It's one of those things that it's chic to give somebody. And it's also, once you get into it, it's kind of like a bag of chips, but healthy because you can't stop. You're like, well, that was good. Because you formatted it so well
It's bite
that
size.
it's bite size. So you can pick it up and put it down and be like, oh, I'm going to knock out 3 more of these.
That's right.
And everything's a nugget of information. That's what I love. It's not like vanilla. You know how y'all get some books, you're like, well, that's a coffee table book. Not this.
Well, and you learn some things you haven't heard in the other million interviews you may have seen with those stars. And
There's
that's
some
what I like.
juiciness in there. Juiciness.
Juiciness in there. Yeah, Sally Field told a little bit on
Little
Burt
juice.
Reynolds.
Juice. Y'all pick up 50 Nights of Oscars now. Link is below. Dave Karger, you're an angel from heaven, and we adore you. Thank you, friend.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon.